Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You're back with Darren at Green Pro Clean. Today we're going to take a look and chat about employment law. I get asked all the time by people back in the UK, my business is growing, I'm ready to take on employees, what should I do? Now the answer to this is very straightforward. You should seek professional help, and I'll tell you why in a sec. Sorry, excuse the wrecked look, it is crazy early on Sunday morning here. Sunday the 18th of April, been up half the night putting the roof back on the pig shed. Not a metaphor, literally putting the roof back on the pig shed. As we've been taking a bit of a battering from Typhoon Bissing, which is currently only 5 miles per hour below a super typhoon. So if it does manage to sustain those speeds at 245 kilometers an hour, it's going to get real fun. We've got a brief respite here this morning, so we've taken time to get the truck stocked. Luckily I got a couple of the lads have volunteered to come in today and get the truck out there. I'll be out there myself shortly, as I am the driver, delivering the water, because when we have tropical storms like this, or even just heavy rainfall in general, the local water company actually can't supply water. Their system just gets overwhelmed and it ends up shutting down. You'll literally turn your faucet on, nothing will come out. Then in a day or so, when they restore service, for want of a better phrase, you turn your faucet on and it will come out brown, which is why purified water like this down here is actually kind of critical. So so my day is going to be spent making sure that the gallons we've got a couple of hundred in stock at the minute, making sure that we get those completely filled, making sure we get them delivered to, well, where they need to get to. So we'll be out and about, hence only the one for breakfast today, guys. But anyway, don't tell the boss. But anyway, yeah, so that'll be my day. Back to employment law, back to what you came for. Here's the problem with employment law in the UK. It sucks to the point of, from the very second you give somebody a job, from the very second they've been for an interview and you've said, do you know what, I'll give you a try, they have to have a contract. By law, they have to have a contract. That's it, you've agreed to hire them. They're now under contract. If you don't provide a contract, you could find yourself in some proper trouble with the powers that be. Now, I know a lot of lads out there who are like, oh yeah, no, I've got like 10 workers and they all work for themselves. They use my vans, they use my tools, they have to do a minimum of 40 hours a week for me. They take care of their own tax, their own stamp, etc. So yeah, so they're self-employed. No, they're not. If the majority of the work that they do is for you, and you are providing all of the tools, etc., 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 they're employed. Look up Pimlico Plumbers. It's a very famous case, very famous plumbers business down in Pimlico. I think it's South London, Southwest London. Southwest London. He was famous for having them on self-employed contracts, and they ended up taking him to court. The workers ended up taking him to court and winning. One of them was off sick and he refused to sort out a sick pay. So when it didn't go in the employee's favour, all of a sudden it became, oh, well, I'm going to take you to court then, isn't it? I've only worked here for 15 years, but now it's not in my favour. I'm taking you to court and screw you. So gratitude from the employee there. And this is also the case of, you could take somebody on and say, oh, you're self-employed now, you've got to do your own tax and stamp. And you pay them, I don't know, a couple of £100 a week in cash or whatever, and they decide they're not going to pay their tax and stamp. When the tax man catches up with you, it's not the employee that has to pay all the back tax plus penalties, it's you, the employer. So there's food for thought. So my overall advice on taking on people is do so, absolutely, but with a contract from day one, with the outlines from day one. You have everything in place from day one, and we'll get to how to do that in a sec. Do not try and be a cowboy and go, oh yeah, well I'll take you on cash, part-time, cash in hand, etc., etc. Because the minute that person has to hop up to get over a garage roof and has a little fall and a broken leg, oh well, yeah, you owe me compo, mate, I was injured at work. Oh yeah, but you're only cash in hand, mate. No. That person's got bills to pay, they've got mouths to feed, and they are going to give you the proverbial fisting for whatever they can get. And I don't care if you think this person's your best mate. I don't care if they're your cousin. I don't care if they're your girlfriend's brother, whatever. The second the shit hits the fan, that's it. They're going to take you to the cleaners. That's all there is to it, because that's human nature, regardless of how good a mates you think you are with said person. So, let's move on. Make sure all your contracts are in place from day one. Now, there is a book out there that is getting harder and harder to find, and it is literally called Employment Law from Birth to Death. That's it. Employment Law from Birth to Death. Hit Amazon, hit eBay, find yourselves a copy of it. It is priceless. It has all of the contracts in it that you're ever going to need, with explanations as to why you need them. Also, it comes with a code. Don't ask me for a code. I don't have a copy of the book at present. It comes with a code that lets you log on to their online website where all of those contracts exist and are up to date. Hold on one sec. Case! Never listens to me. That's one of our security dogs. Bear with me one second and see what she's kicking off about. Apparently she's seen the neighbour's dog across the road. So anyway, it comes with a code that lets you log onto their website, and it has all the up-to-date copies of absolutely everything. Some years back, when I first took on employees, I contacted a company in Nottingham, I won't tell you which one, a law firm, and they put me through to somebody over the phone, and I said, listen, I want a contract for my workers, and I said, but generally this is what I want it to cover, yada yada yada, etc. Because I'm 100% against 0 hours contracts. They're total BS. I would never work for one in my life, and I wouldn't expect you to either. But what I'm saying is, I contacted this law firm. They put me through to somebody. I gave them a brief of my requirements. A couple of days later, I got a package in the post. I wasn't expecting it. I was just having a general chat. I phoned up the secretary, got put through to somebody. This package had a copy of a contract this thick in it, and it had 2 copies of it. But this was just the contract for the engagement of services between me and this law firm. And I'm like, oh, done, mate. I phoned up for a general chinwag and to see if I want to go in the direction of hiring you. And this waffled on and on and on about how the lawyer's rate was £300 an hour and his associate's rate was £120 an hour or something, and blah, 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 blah. And also in there was a contract about that thick. I don't know if you can see that. Actually, I might have to get the calipers on that one. Tiny little thing, few pages long. That was the so-called employment contract, which was verbatim the same as something I could download off of Google. So at this point, I call them up and I'm like, yeah, mate, you can walk on. See you later. And they're like, oh, well, you owe the money, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't. I says, unless you can show me a signature where I've agreed to engage your services, or you've heard me verbally on the phone saying, yes, you're hired, then you can walk on, mate. So anyway, this goes on for a few months. Every few weeks I'll get a call from these people. Oh yeah, just following up about your outstanding bill. After the first couple of months, my language becomes very impolite, for want of a better phrase. And they get told where to shove it, where what they can do. You know, they can walk on once again, but not so politely. So anyway, this goes on and on and on. A few months down the road, I get a letter from them. They're taking me to the small claims court. So I file a counter at the small claims court, basically stating that not only am I going to sue them for the loss of my daily earnings, I'm going to also sue them for, well, literally anything I could. My daily bill came to about 400 and something pound by the time, my transportation costs, reserving the right in case I needed any accommodation costs to stay over near the courthouse, etc. Things like that, you know, food and beverages for the day, time lost in work hours, but also reserve the right to file further claims for mental distress down the road, etc. Because this was now becoming such a toll, etc. And I phoned up the law firm once again, one last time. I called them up and I said, listen, put me through to the person that's named on this claim against me. They wouldn't put me through to them. And anyhow, I'm talking to the young lady and she says, well, we filed the case, we're taking you to court. And this was just some first year associate or something. I learned more about the law from watching shows like LA Law than she bloody well knew. But anyhow, says, listen, I says, you claim you've got a copy of a contract with my signature on it. Oh yes, we do. Okay, fantastic. Could you kindly email me a picture of this, or even fax me one, etc. And I'll be down there with cash in the hour. Oh no, we're taking you to court now. And I'm like, but I'm here telling you that I'll settle the bill within the hour if you can show me a copy of this contract with my signature on it. Oh, well, we've got that, but we're not going to send it to you. We'll appear in court with it. I'm like, lovely. By the way, on my phone I have ACR. You'll have heard me mention this one in other videos, rather. ACR is another call recorder. This automatically records all my calls from the second I press send, or from the second you phone me. It records all my calls, so I can sit back later and go, hold on, what did Dave say about what time we're meeting at the pub? Beep. Oh, 7, lovely, well, I'll be there. So this call has been recorded, and I will be using it in my defensive evidence in court. I'll see you there, love. Bye. 3 days later, I get another letter in the post. We've decided as a goodwill gesture we'll be dropping all claims, etc. And at that time I was on my way down to see my accountant, John. You'll have heard me talk about John in the park. And I says to John, I says, mate, I'm steaming. I says, screw this. I says, no, I don't want no goodwill gesture. We're going to court, mate. It is on like Donkey Kong now. I says, I'm ready for the fight. And John's just sitting there going, Darren, just take the win. Just let it go, walk away. It's a waste of your time now. He says, you beat them, be done with it. And I was so mad. And he turned around and he said to me, listen, he says, the law firm in question is the only one in the Midlands that has its own in-house debt collection department, and they were famed for the sort of antics that they'd been trying on with me already. And he says, so you beat them, so just let it go. So I did. So that's why I won't be mentioning their name in this video, not even joking about it, but I took the win. So that is the kind of aggravation you can get even seeking professional help. So if you've got a good accountant or a professional in the family, for example, if you've got an accountant, a lawyer, someone in the family who can recommend a good way for you to get a good employment contract sorted out, then do that. Don't let my story put you off even hiring a law firm, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to run you into $1,000 or $2 in the old skyrocket, mate. It's going to hurt the pocket a little bit, but it's going to save your bacon in the long run. Now, also on employment law, the minute you take somebody on, they got rights. I've got rights, innit? Oi, shut it, mug. I've got rights. They won't bother turning up on time. They won't bother coming in some days, but still they got rights. One system we developed some time back was the 3-strike rule, and you literally, I can't recall exactly what it is. You've got to give them something like 3 warnings, and the first warning is a verbal warning. But when you give them this verbal warning, it can be over anything. They park the van wrong. They put the ladder in an incorrect position. They're scrubbing the window in a poor fashion with the water-fed pole that doesn't get it clean. Give them a verbal warning, but write this verbal warning out on a piece of paper and get them to sign saying they've had the verbal warning and they accept the verbal warning and they understand the verbal warning. There's your first strike. Your second strike is a written warning. So you see them doing something else a few days later, and noobs always make mistakes. That's all there is to it. So you can give them a written warning over this. Get them to sign it. There's your first 2. Your third is full and final. That's it, you're fired, you're cocked up 3 times. But now you've got those first 2 in the bank, so to speak. It's a handy little insurance technique, and I was actually given this bit of advice professionally by a lawyer. So handy little technique. Stick with it and give it a try. But anyway, that's my advice when taking people on. When taking people on, also you'll have the problem of anybody and everybody will apply. I'm not sure what it's like now, but previously, if you were on Job Seekers or the Dole or whatever it's called these days, you had to apply for so many jobs a month to qualify to get it. So you would apply for anything and everything. One way we found to weed out the worst case applicants was when we advertised for window cleaning in Nottingham, we had everything, guys, girls, gays, the whole 9 yards applying. They're all welcome. But to get the job, you have to be able to do the job. Every single aspect of the job, everybody has to be able to do, because if Dave don't show up for work today and Steve's off because his wife's having a baby, well then you've got to be able to take care of their duties. So one of the systems that we had in place was I had this big ass heavy, I think it was a 9-rung triple section, really heavy badass ladder, and people would come along and the ladder would be laying on the floor, and the first stage of the interview was pick the ladder up, pick that up and put it up to that first floor window there. And nobody, what's the right way to say this? Anybody with that experience is not going to do this successfully and efficiently. So when you see them coming along and they're just like struggling and about to smash some car, yeah, sorry mate, this just isn't going to work out for you. And that's the quick way to get rid of them. But don't let this video put you off hiring people. Do it. I've had some fantastic employees. Yes, Ben, Andy, Ben and Andy. I think that about sums it up. So I've had a couple of fantastic employees and some other very acceptable employees. But along the way, it does get to be hard work, and especially when, especially if you've just got one employee and you want to take a day off, but all of a sudden, oh, their kid's got this, that, the other going on, and they can't come in today. Well, they've got the right to not turn up, and it's like, what? So then you've got to take care of everything yet again. Hope you find this useful, guys. I'm getting a bit tired now, so I'm going to try and take a nap while the calm's in. The lads are coming in about an hour so that we can get some water out today. So comments in the box below, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good jazz. And employment law from birth to death. Buy it, find it on Amazon, find it on eBay, read it, reread it, etc, etc. If I can find a copy, I'll link it below. Ciao for now, thanks for watching.